Welcome to HFY Galactic Stories, original science fiction tales, where humans face impossible odds, and the galaxy pays the price for its ignorance. Listen carefully. This is where legends are born. The Impossible Fleet. Supreme Commander Zalthar was in charge of the Corvan Empire's military for a long time, over 400 years. The Corvan Empire, led by Supreme Commander Zalthar and the Corvans, took control of 73 star systems. They made sure everything was okay on a lot of worlds that were not as advanced. The Corvans were the ones in this part of space. Everyone knew that the Corvans were the strongest. The Corvan Empire had really cool silver warships that could move through space without making any noise. These silver warships were like hunters that you could not see or hear. Each silver warship was very special. It took the Corvans a very long time to make them just right. The Corvan Empire's silver warships were very good. The Corvans were very proud of them. The Corvans thought they were better than everyone because they were very disciplined. They planned everything carefully. The Corvans took their time to get power. It took them thousands of years to do this. They just kept going steadily. The Corvans and their way of doing things was about getting more power. The day was like any other. Zalthar was standing in the command room of the Silver Talon, his ship. This room was round. The walls had big screens that showed what was happening in space all around them. His people were all wearing the suits that the Corvan military used. They were all working quietly. Zalthar liked that. The Silver Talon was doing what it was supposed to do. Everything was fine. The ship was following the path it had been on for 200 years. They were watching the edges of their space, where other species sometimes tried to move into areas that were not for them. The Corvan military was in charge of making sure this did not happen. Zalthar was in charge of the Silver Talon and its crew. The Silver Talon was on patrol, making sure the outer rim territories were safe. The alarm that went off and broke the silence was something that Zalthar had not heard in a long time, 30 years to be exact. It was in low sound that meant some unknown ships had been found. Zalthar's second officer, a guy from Corvan named Vex, turned around from his station and looked confused. You could see it on his face, which was covered in scales. "We have some ships," Supreme Commander said. Vex. "They are in Sector 9 Theta. These unknown ships are coming out of hyperspace now." Zalthar's three eyes narrowed. The space in Sector 9 Theta was completely empty. It was like a wall between the land that belonged to the Corvan people and the quarantine sectors. The quarantine sectors were where the Empire kept an eye on species that were still growing and not yet ready to meet the rest of the universe. These species were left alone to develop at their speed, and the Empire watched them from far away. The Empire would bring these species into the Empire when they were civilized enough. Zalthar said to display the contacts. The main screen started to flicker. It showed something that just could not be real. Ships were coming out of hyperspace, lots of them, even more. These were not like any ships you would normally see. The Corvan vessels are really nice. They are made to be perfect and beautiful. These new ships were completely different. They were blocks of dark metal like big rectangles, and they were covered in thick armor plating, so thick you could build whole cities on it. The Corvan vessels are supposed to be amazing. These new ships were not like that at all. They just looked like blocks of metal with armor plating all over them, and they kept coming out of hyperspace, more and more of them. There were things sticking out from every surface. These things looked like weapons. I had no idea what they were for. They were shaped in a way that reminded me of the points on a big creature that lives deep in the ocean. The weapons of design were really strange, and they were everywhere, pointing out like the spines of some deep ocean creature. "How many are there?" Zalthar asked, trying to sound calm even though he was getting really worried. Vex looked at his stuff 3 times before he said anything. "There are 500 of them, and more are coming, Supreme Commander. They just keep coming out. The biggest ship is really huge. It is 22 kilometers long." The distance was 22 kilometers. The Silver Talon, which was the ship in the Corvan fleet, was really long, about 3 kilometers from one end to the other. Zalthar had seen things before, like the stations that float in space, or the big machines that dig up minerals from asteroids, or the huge ships that take people to new homes. Those things are not meant for war. The Silver Talon and the other ships like it, they do not look pretty. You can tell what they are made for. Every part of these ships, every corner, every side, every place where they put the gun says one thing: they are made to fight. The Silver Talon and these other ships are built to fight. That is all they are for. Zalthar told his people to find out where these vessels came from. His officers got to work away checking the vessels for any special marks or signs of energy. It did not take them long. After a minute, Vex looked up and he could not believe what he was seeing. "Supreme Commander Zalthar, the energy signs from these vessels are like the signs we have on record from the quarantine areas. The signs are like the ones from the third planet in the Sol system, which is a place we know about. The Sol system is an interesting place." Zalthar looked back at his memory banks. found the information he needed. The Sol system has a star and 8 planets. One of these planets is called Earth by the people who live there. These people call themselves humans. The Corvan Empire took a look at the humans 150 years ago. At that time the humans were just starting to develop their industries. They had planes that could fly, rockets that used chemicals to blast off, and they were just figuring out how to split atoms. The Sol system and its planets like Earth are still on the radar of the Corvan Empire. The survey team said we should wait 500 years before we talk to them for the time. The survey team thought this was an idea because the survey team wanted to make sure everything was safe before the survey team made contact with them. The survey team recommended a time, 500 years to be exact, before the survey team would allow the first contact to happen. That was 150 years ago. The aggressive species out there took at least 1,000 years to figure out interstellar travel after they found out about atomic energy. This is something that always happens. It has been seen in dozens of species. The humans we are talking about are very primitive. There is no way they could have built these ships. These humans just do not have the capability to build something like this. The ships are just too advanced for the humans. Something is wrong, Zalthar said. Check the signatures again. Vex did what he was told. He ran the scans again. The results were still the same. Supreme Commander, there is no mistake. These ships are from humans. I can see their power sources now. He stopped, his hands shaking a little. Sir, each ship is using controlled fusion to get power. Each ship has reactors. The biggest ship has 47 fusion cores that are working. 47 fusion reactors on one ship is a lot. The Silver Talon had 1 fusion reactor. That was thought to be really advanced. Zalthar felt something that he had not felt in a long time. He was really surprised. This changes everything that the Empire thought it knew about how technology works. It does not make sense that a species can go from using rockets to building huge ships powered by fusion reactors in just 150 years. Fusion reactors like the ones on the Silver Talon and these huge ships are a deal. The Empire did not think it was possible for anyone to make such a jump in technology so quickly. Fusion reactors are a part of this technology. Zalthar said to open a way to talk to them. He wanted to be able to hear them on all kinds of frequencies. The person in charge of talking to spaceships did what Zalthar said. They sent out a message that could be heard by everyone. The message was in the Corvan language that everyone uses. It also had some math problems that any spaceship from another world should be able to understand. The message was really simple. It said, "Tell us who you are and why you are in the space that we watch." Zalthar wanted to know what these spaceships were doing in the space that the Corvan people keep an eye on. For a long time there was nothing. The human fleet just kept coming out of hyperspace. Their ships kept adding up, over 600 now. They were lined up and moving together, keeping the same distance from each other. These humans may be a lot of things. They definitely know how to work together like a team. The human fleet was really showing some military discipline. Then after what felt like the humans finally said something back. The ship's computer translated what they said into Corvan so Zalthar could understand it. He could still tell how the human sounded. The human voice was calm and quiet. It was also very sure of itself, and that was a little scary. The human fleet was still there and Zalthar was waiting to see what they would do next. Corvan vessels, this is Fleet Commander Sarah Chin of the Terran Defense Initiative. We are going through this part of space to get to our home system. Our goal is to set up defenses around our home system. We do not want to fight the Corvan Empire. We will not stop or change our course. If the Corvan vessels stay away from us, there will be no fighting between the Corvan vessels and the Terran Defense Initiative. We want the Corvan vessels to keep their distance from the Terran Defense Initiative. Zalthar got really upset at the way he was spoken to. No one talks to the Corvan Empire like that. You are breaking the rules of the quarantine, Zalthar said. The Corvan Empire is watching the Sol system. The Corvan Empire wanted the people in the Sol system to develop on their own without any help from outside. The Corvan Empire told them to go to their own system right away and wait for the Corvan Empire to make official contact. There was a pause before the human responded. Commander Chen's voice was sharp when she spoke again, and it made Zalthar's scales feel funny. Commander Zalthar, I think we got something. A time ago, about 150 years ago, a Corvan survey ship came to our system. We did not know it was here at the time. We found out later. Your ship put up satellites around our system to watch us, and then it left without talking to us. Commander Chin stopped talking for a moment. You might not be aware that one of your satellites stopped working and came down into our atmosphere. It went down in the Pacific Ocean. We were able to get the satellite out of the water. The satellite that fell is one of yours. Zalthar felt a chill run down his spine. Those survey satellites were made to destroy themselves if something went wrong. One of them did not destroy itself after it crashed. We looked at the technology you people have, Chin said. It took us a time to figure out how it works, 20 years to be exact. Then it took us 30 years to make something just like it. After that it took us 20 more years to make it even better. The thing is, your satellites were supposed to keep us from learning things and make us stay simple. What really happened was that they showed us how to reach the stars. So thank you for letting us have that technology, the survey satellites. Thank you for the survey satellites that helped us much. The huge human fleet started to move. Their fusion drives came on. Lit up the dark space. They did not ask if they could go. They did not ask if it was okay. It was clear what would happen to anything that got in their way. The human fleet would get rid of it. Zalthar had to decide what to do. He could tell his fleet to fight, to show that the Corvan people were in charge like the rules said they should. The Corvan fleet had 300 ships. They were very strong. The people on these ships were warriors who had been training for a long time, for centuries even. Those human ships were really something. They were ships that should not be there, made by people who should still be figuring out how to use chemicals to move things. Every feeling that Zalthar had gotten from being in charge for over 400 years was telling him that fighting this fleet would be a bad idea. Stop, he said softly. His people turned around to look at him like they could not believe what they were hearing. Supreme Commander Vex said, like he was asking a question. Zalthar said it again this time. He told them to stand down. They had to pull to where it was safe. They were not supposed to fight back. Zalthar wanted them to send an important message to the High Council right away. The message was that everything they thought they knew about humans was wrong. They might have made a mistake. The Silver Talon and the other spaceships with it moved back slowly. They kept a distance from the human ships as they went through Corvan space. The human ships looked like a river of dark metal with fires burning inside. Zalthar watched the human ships go, thinking about what it all meant. He was thinking about the humans. What they could do. Zalthar was still trying to understand the humans and what they had just seen. The humans took the Corvan technology. Made it even better in a really short time, less than 100 years. They built a fleet of spaceships that was as big and powerful as the entire Empire Navy. The humans did all of this without anyone knowing. They kept it a secret behind a quarantine that was supposed to keep them safe. They worked on the Corvan technology. Made their own fleet. The Corvan technology helped them to make their fleet very strong. As the last human ship disappeared into hyperspace, Zalthar understood a terrible truth. The Corvan Empire had not been protecting the humans. The quarantine had been protecting the Empire from discovering what the humans could become when given the right motivation. Now that secret was out, and the galaxy would never be the same. The price of arrogance. The High Council of the Corvan Empire got together for a meeting, which was a really rare thing. It had not happened in 200 years. The room where they met was very old. Made of special crystal-like materials that did a lot of things with light. It was like the light was bouncing off the walls and ceiling. It reminded everyone who went in of how great the Corvan Empire is. There were 12 people on the council. They sat in a circle, each one representing a different part of the Corvan Empire, like the people, the army, the farmers, and so on. In the middle of the circle stood Supreme Commander Zalthar. He was wearing his armor, but it did not look as shiny as it usually did because of the bright lights. Supreme Commander Zalthar had 3 eyes. They looked very serious, like he was thinking about something big, and he was. He had some important news to share with the High Council of the Corvan Empire. High Counselor Draven, the oldest of the 12, was the first to talk. His voice was very powerful because he had been serving for 600 years. The Supreme Commander said that a species that we do not have contact with has built a fleet of spaceships that's as good as our own fleet. The Supreme Commander also said that this species has technology that's as good as or even better than our technology. High Counselor Draven wants to know how this species was able to do this, Supreme Commander. He wants the Supreme Commander to explain how this is possible. Zalthar turned on a display that filled the middle of the room. Pictures of the fleet showed up, turning slowly so the council could see everything about them. The human fleet is, from humans. We know this because of the energy they give off. Because we talk to them directly. The human fleet uses fusion technology to move. They have weapons that we do not know much about. They work together like a well-trained army, which means they must have been doing this for a very long time. Zalthar stopped talking. He knew what he was going to say would surprise them. The people did this in 150 years from the moment of our survey to the day. They made a lot of progress. The people worked hard. They were able to do this in 150 years, which is a pretty short time. The people started from the moment of our survey. They kept going until the present day. That is impossible, said Counselor Myra, who is in charge of development. No species can advance that fast. Our own people needed 8,000 years to travel to stars after we learned about atomic energy. The humans should still be trying out rockets. Counselor Myra thinks that humans are not ready for big steps. The humans should still be using rockets, not advanced technology like interstellar travel. That is what we believed. Zalthar agreed. We were wrong. He changed the picture on the screen showing us when things happened. 150 years ago the survey ship Epsilon 7 came to the Sol system. They just wanted to check on the humans and make sure we were watching them. The job was, so we thought. What we did not know was that one of the satellites we put up to watch the humans was not working right. The council members leaned forward. They were really paying attention now. Councillor Draven's scales changed color a bit, which meant he was worried about something. Continue. The satellite came down from space. Landed in one of the Earth's oceans. It was supposed to break when it failed, but that did not happen. The people on Earth found it. It was still in one piece. Zalthar waited for a moment before he went on. The people on Earth took our technology. Figured out how it worked. They looked at our power systems and the materials we used in our computer systems. The people on Earth understood our technology in 20 years. In 50 years they were able to make their versions of it. In 100 years they were able to make it even better than the satellite technology that we had. Councillor Vren, who knows a lot about how aliens think, said something. This still does not tell us why the aliens are moving fast. It is one thing to understand the technology of the aliens. Building a big fleet like this needs a lot of things like resources and people working together, and most species take a very long time to get to that point. What made the aliens do this? Councillor Vren and the others want to know what motivated the aliens. Zalthar hesitated. He really did not want to tell people about this part of the report. So when the survey ship Epsilon 7 finished what it was doing, it did what it was supposed to do. The survey ship Epsilon 7 gathered information, put out systems to keep an eye on things, and got ready to leave. Then something unexpected happened when the survey ship Epsilon 7 was leaving the Sol system. The survey ship Epsilon 7 ran into a spaceship that people were using. The council chamber fell silent. Running into spacecraft was not something new, but the rules for dealing with them were very clear. The council had to follow these rules to avoid hurting a species that was still learning and growing. The council had to be careful not to interfere with a developing species like this. The rules were in place to prevent the council from having any contact with spacecraft that could contaminate a developing species. The human spaceship was a simple thing, Zalthar said. It was not manned, it was just sent to look around their solar system. The human spaceship did not pose any danger to us. When we find something like that, we are supposed to go around it and not pay any attention to it. Captain Ryloth of the Epsilon 7 did something different. He hit the spaceship with a lot of hot energy because he thought it was necessary to stop the humans from finding out we are here. The human spaceship was destroyed by Captain Ryloth. The human spaceship was a probe, it was not a threat to us. I really want to know if Councillor Draven did what he was supposed to do. Councillor Draven closed his 3 eyes. I hope Councillor Draven filed a report. That is what I want to know. Zalthar said that it really happened. The report said that something simple was stopped so the quarantine would stay intact. The people who review these things said it was okay. They put it away. Nobody thought it was a deal. Then he changed the screen again to show messages from people that they had found. Captain Ryloth did not know that the people were watching us. The thing that we sent to them was sending back information to Earth away. The people saw our ship, Zalthar and Captain Ryloth's ship. They saw what happened to the thing they had sent. The humans figured some things out about Zalthar and Captain Ryloth and their ship. Councillor Myra asked what conclusions they had reached, though the way she said it made it seem like she already had an idea of what the answer was going to be. We were mean to them. We thought they were not important. We would break their things without saying anything or asking them. Zalthar showed us a paper written in Corvan words. This is what humans said in a meeting 3 days after something bad happened. I will read the part. He took a breath. We have people around us in the universe and they are not nice to us. They broke our machine without telling us, without trying to talk to us. They have things that work better than ours. If those people think we are a problem or get in their way, they can get rid of us easily as they got rid of that space probe. We only have 2 options. We can hope those people forget about us, or we can become strong enough that those people cannot ignore the humans. The humans have to be careful because those people are very powerful and the humans do not want to be eliminated like that probe was eliminated by those people. The council chamber was really quiet. Zalthar just kept on reading. The leaders of the humans made their decision. They decided to go with strength. In 1 year, every single country on Earth was working on the same thing, the Terran Defense Initiative. They used everything they had, every smart person in every factory, to work towards one thing. They were going to look closely at the satellite they got back. They wanted to figure out our technology. They wanted to build ships that could fight against the Terran Defense Initiative ships. They wanted to make sure that no aliens could ever just destroy their stuff again. The humans were working on the Terran Defense Initiative to be strong. The Terran Defense Initiative was their project. Counselor Vren spoke in a voice. Counselor Vren said that we made the people afraid of us. Being afraid is what makes people do things. Counselor Vren thinks that fear is the way to get people to do what you want them to do. The thing that drove the humans was not really fear, Zalthar said. It was determination. The humans worked for 150 years to reach their goal. They never gave up. They always remembered what they wanted to do. Each generation told the one about the mission. They told their kids about the probe that got destroyed. They told them about the aliens who did not think they were important. The humans built their world around one idea: they would never be powerless again. They really wanted to be strong. The humans wanted to make sure that what happened with the probe would not happen again. Zalthar said that the humans were determined to succeed. Counselor Draven stood up, his old body moving slowly with a lot of effort. What do the people who are doing this want from Counselor Draven? Have the people who are doing this made any demands to Counselor Draven? Not yet, Zalthar replied. The fleet commander, who is a human named Sarah Chen, said they are setting up defenses around the Zalthar home system. The fleet commander and the people with the fleet commander passed through our space without fighting. The message from the fleet commander was clear. The people with the fleet commander are no longer alone. The people with the fleet commander are no longer weak. The people with the fleet commander will not put up with anyone getting in their way. Then we have to open channels, Counselor Myra said. We have to tell them that what happened to their probe was a mistake. One of our captains was too eager. Followed old rules that do not apply anymore. We can give the Empire technology and resources to them. We can also offer them a place in the Empire where they are treated as equals, not people who have to do what we say. The Empire can be a thing for them if they join us as equals. I tried to talk to them, Zalthar said. The response from Commander Chen was really interesting. He played a recording of his voice, and Commander Chen's voice came through the speakers in the room because of the systems that help us understand each other. Commander Zalthar, the Empire had a long time, 150 years, to reach out to us in a nice way. The Empire could have said hello. Been friends at any time. The Empire did not do that. The Empire watched us without telling us, like we were animals in a cage. The Empire broke our probe just because the Empire could. Because the Empire did not think we were important. Now the Empire thinks we are important, and the Empire wants to talk to us. That is pretty convenient for the Empire. The recording went on. We do not want to fight the Corvin Empire. We just want the Corvin Empire to leave us alone so we can do what we want. The Corvin Empire's quarantine of our system is over. The Corvin Empire's monitoring of our system is over. Now our system is protected by a fleet that even the commanders of the Corvin Empire are afraid to fight. If the Corvin Empire wants peace, the Corvin Empire will respect our independence. Stay away from us. If the Corvin Empire wants to fight, we are ready for that too with the Corvin Empire. Counselor Draven sank back into his seat. The people in charge are giving Counselor Draven and the others a choice to make. Counselor Draven has to decide between having peace. Only if they do what the other people want or going to war, and Counselor Draven is not sure if they can win that war. Zalthar said this in a tone. We have people who listen to what humans are saying. The 600 ships that came through our area are not all the ships they have. Humans actually have over 3,000 ships. They are building more in their shipyards. They have settlements on every planet and moon where they can build things. The humans have changed their society into a big machine that makes weapons and ships, and it has been running non-stop for 150 years. Zalthar explained that this is what our intelligence network has found out about the humans and their industrial complex. The humans are really focused on building up their military. Zalthar said that the 600 ships we saw are just a small part of their whole fleet. Counselor Vren just could not believe it. The idea of 3,000 ships is really something. That is even bigger than our navy. I mean, Counselor Vren thought, how can one species build many ships? Counselor Vren was thinking about the Counselor Vren's navy and the Counselor Vren's own people. 3,000 ships, that is a lot of ships for the enemy to have. Zalthar said it is really simple. We scared them. That fear is a very strong thing. They built these ships to stay alive, not to take over places. Every single person knows what happened to the probe that got destroyed. They call it the Catalyst Incident. This story is told to kids in school. People remember it every year. The humans took their fear, turned it into something they wanted to do, and then they used that to get powerful. The humans and their fear of what happened with the Catalyst Incident is what is making them do all this. The Catalyst Incident is a deal to them. The High Council was really quiet, nobody was saying a word. The Corvin Empire had been in charge for a long time, 12,000 years. They were the force in their part of space. The people in the Corvan Empire thought this would never change, that they would always be ahead of species because they were moving forward slowly but surely. Now the Corvan Empire is facing a problem. A species that they thought was not very advanced has built a fleet of spaceships that can hurt the Corvan Empire and everything they have built. The Corvan Empire is in trouble because of this fleet. What do you think we should do, Supreme Commander? Counselor Draven asked this question after a time. He wanted to know what the Supreme Commander thought about their situation. The Supreme Commander was the person who was supposed to give them advice. Counselor Draven was waiting to hear the Supreme Commander's recommendations. Zalthar took a breath. We have to accept the terms of the side. This means we have to recognize that they are in charge of their space. We need to remove all of our monitoring systems from their area and start talking to them in a way. The Zalthar thing is that we must treat them as equals, maybe even better than us when it comes to some technology. The main thing we must do is learn from what happened with Zalthar and the other side. What kind of mistake are you talking about? Counselor Myra asked. We thought we were better than everyone just because of who we are. That is not true. We thought that just because we have a lot of technology we can treat other species like they are beneath us. The humans have shown us that if a species really wants to, they can make a lot of progress quickly. He looked at each member of the council one by one. The humans did something in 150 years that took us 8,000 years to do. Think about what they will be able to do in another 100 years. Think about what they could become if we treat them like enemies of friends. The humans could become very powerful if we make them our enemies, then our friends, the humans. The vote was unanimous. The Corvan Empire was going to do something. The Corvan Empire would recognize that humans are in charge, and the Corvan Empire would leave the Sol system completely. The Corvan Empire and humans would start talking to each other in a way. The Corvan Empire would say sorry for destroying the probe, and the Corvan Empire would give something to make up for it. The Corvan Empire and humans would make rules for meeting new species that are still growing. This was a deal for the Corvan Empire because the Corvan Empire always got what it wanted before. As Zalthar walked out of the council chamber, he looked up at the stars that he could see through the ceiling. The human fleet was there somewhere, moving forward on its way home, the fire from their engines shining like lights in the dark. The humans had built these ships because they were scared, because they were determined, and because they did not want to be hurt. They had taken the things the Empire did and used them to make themselves stronger. The human fleet was still. Zalthar thought about the people on those ships, the humans who had worked hard to make this journey happen. The Corvan Empire will make it through this. They will find a way to deal with it like they always do. The Corvan Empire will never forget what the humans taught them. The humans showed the Corvan Empire that the dangerous beings in the universe are not the ones with the most powerful weapons or the oldest way of life. The dangerous beings are the ones who have a very good reason to keep fighting and never give up. The humans have this reason. It is stuck in their memory because of something bad that happened 150 years ago.